Noot with Tru-X Outdoors coming at you again with another one. We got
Richard Jean, the fishing machine.
And
Rocky Drake.
Today we're just going to be goofing around, talking about fishing, everything. We'll let Richard start over here. Let's see.
Well, you know, fishing is a sport which I'm sure y'all will agree is second to none. And if you like to fish, well, you need to do that. Do you agree, Rocky?
I agree 100%.
And I know y'all do too.
Yes, sir. Always. You say second to none, so what's the
Second
first?
to none.
Eating.
Probably. That's really important.
You gotta
I
eat.
guess you're right.
Catch
there.
the fish, then eat them.
We got to eat. I
do you think
believe
about
in
it?
it.
What do I think about what?
What's the first?
The first, second to none, that would be the first, right?
You think so?
Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely.
You like
I
eating
was-
as well?
I love eating fish. I sure do. Especially panfish, bluegill, crappie. And Richard and I, we went to a river the other day and caught some red-eye rock bass. And man, let me tell you something. That's the first time I've had those, and those things are absolutely delicious.
They are delicious. They're probably one of the best they are.
Yep.
They're as good as bluegill
They are.
or crappie.
Yeah, they are.
Did you let Mama Sue cook them?
Well, she didn't get to that day. Well, I give them all to Rocky.
Oh.
Oh, you should give them all to me. I'd go and paint them all.
But I've eaten them before. They're good eating
Yep.
fish.
You like them better than crappie, you think?
I think they're probably a little bit better because rock bass, we have them here in North Alabama, Tennessee. Has to be an extremely clear, non-polluted water system for them to live.
What'd you catch
They
those
can't-
fish on, the red eyes?
I caught them on a man's, no, what was that bait right there? I done forgot.
I don't know.
It's a Z-Man TRD.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
The little bitty one. The,
It wasn't
the
live
inch,
bait?
No.
inch point 75 TRD.
Or shaky head?
It was a Ned rig,
Ned rig,
actually.
Is that y'all's favorite form of fishing?
I like live bait fishing.
Live bait
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like throwing the real thing.
The real thing?
That same day Richard was doing his video, I caught some big stone rollers, creek chubs, whatever you want to call them, and I went down river. Richard went up river, and I got in a bunch of big smallmouth. But then again, right before dark, I got into a big deep hole of those rock bass, red eye, like Richard was catching, and I caught some that were huge, with those big minnows that were about that long.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even think that a fish like that could swallow a big minnow like that, but yeah, it's hard to beat that live bait fish.
Now,
Yeah.
rock bass is very aggressive.
They're real aggressive.
They'll eat a live crawfish
Oh,
that
yeah.
big. I used to use live crawfish in them creeks. I mean, big ones.
Yeah.
And a 11-inch rock bass that eat a crawfish 5 inches long.
Yes, sir, they will.
And it's amazing.
Yep.
Is that your favorite form of fishing? Is live bait?
No, I do it all. Mainly, most of my fishing is artificial.
The reason I
Artificial
use
baits.
live bait is because I'm not that good of an artificial fisherman.
Gotcha.
Richard can catch a crappie in a mud hole. I mean, Richard is probably the most knowledgeable fisherman I've ever met. And I'm not just saying that to make him feel good. He is. I mean, he can catch them fish. And but the reason I like live bait fish, I don't know. I just like to fish all natural.
Yeah.
And live bait is going to catch probably the biggest fish out there that's in that creek
No
or
doubt.
river. I mean, and I like catching the bigger fish.
Yeah.
So that's just me. And I like to catch a lot of fish. When I go fishing, I like to catch fish. You know, simple as that.
So, where can everybody find your content?
My content
Yeah.
is Richard Jean, the fishing machine.
Is that's on YouTube?
That's on YouTube. We've been on YouTube for about 7 years, almost 8. Almost 8. And I think we're at 328,000.
Man, that's awesome.
It's a lot.
And I don't know how many millions of views we've had, but we have fans from Hawaii, Germany, Japan, Switzerland, all over the world.
Yeah.
And we're growing about 1,000 subscribers a week right now. So we're really growing right now.
Yeah.
And we're doing it all here in North Alabama,
Yes,
one of the
yeah.
best places on earth to fish.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yep.
We're really, truly blessed. here.
Yep.
Where can we find yours?
Find mine on YouTube. It's called Rocky Drake Outdoors. And I'm just getting started. I've been there about a year, maybe a year and a half now. And The reason I started a YouTube channel is on account of Richard.
Oh yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Mentor.
Yeah, Richard. We met each other. A lot of people. Where'd you meet Richard at? Well,
Excuse me.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When I met Richard, I wasn't watching a lot of YouTube stuff, and I'd heard Richard's name, but I'd never seen any of Richard's videos or anything. And so anyway, I was down at the dam, Gunnersville Dam down there. We were catching bait, dropping the net down the wall, catching bait to go fishing with, and Richard was there. And Richard had dropped his net and came up with a bunch of carp and a bunch of, you remember that?
Yeah.
And he was on his knees digging all them old trash fish out of his net. And I said, you kind of look familiar. He said, well, I'm Richard Gene, the fishing machine. So that's kind of how we met. And I was live bait fishing that day, and I had my boat up there with my bait tank. And Richard, he'd been live bait fishing for bass, but he'd been fishing out of a 5-gallon bucket hanging over the boat. Bless his heart. So Richard came up and looked at my bait tank and all that good stuff, and we just got to be friends. We hit it off really good and ended up doing a video together, showing him how my bait tank worked, and he ended up with that bait tank.
Yeah.
And then after we'd done a couple of videos, Richard said, man, you might want to start you a YouTube channel. So I did, and now Richard and I are real good friends, and we fish together from time to time, and worked out great.
Yeah.
Just a couple of years, right?
A couple of years, yeah.
I tell you, we could have had a lot of, oh my goodness, Rocky let the world record
I did.
hybrid stripe go,
Man.
and we called it he called it at Gunnersville Dam.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
Yeah, we were over there trying to catch some big rock bass because they were running that time of the year. I think it was in March of last year or something like that. And we caught some big bait. Big bait catches big fish. Yeah. You know. And we were up there and up there next to the dam in that swift current, and we were just drifting those minnows. And we done caught several nice rock bass. And then I hooked this one fish, and Richard, see, here's how good Richard is. He said, them hybrid stripe, when you hook those, they'll run into the current up towards the dam. See, I never thought about it. A rock bass will run down current.
Yeah.
So I hooked this big fish, and sure enough, it started running toward the dam instead of down current. And I could tell it was a big fish, and finally I got it up there. And when Richard seen it, he said, oh my goodness, I remember exactly what he said. It's in one of my videos. He said, what a hybrid stripe. And it was so big, he couldn't hardly get in the net.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
and after I net it, it's all I could do to put
just
it in the boat.
pick it up. But so anyway, we got the fish up, and we're, I don't like to keep fish out of the water very long, and especially a great big fish like that. So anyway, we turned it back pretty quick, and then
Didn't weigh it.
I didn't even think about it. And I said, Richard, I don't know. I think the straight record's only 26 pounds. He said, well, I can guarantee you that one there is over 30.
Well.
That we just turned late. So I got to looking. The world record's only like 28 pounds.
Goodness.
So I feel pretty confident
I guarantee you
that I turned probably the world record hybrid stripe. Oh, and I think I ain't for sure, but I think the world record come out of Alabama too. I think Alabama's noted for some big hybrid stripe, especially down South Alabama. But anyway, that's that story.
You wasn't aggravated at him, was you?
Oh,
no, because it was an innocent mistake. Neither one of us is too educated when it comes to hybrid stripe.
No,
No. Now, if it'd been bass or anything else, it would have been common knowledge,
Yeah.
to have weighed a huge bass.
Right.
Well, we didn't have any scales in the boat with us anyway, so
No.
it was. I actually
We were more concerned about the fish surviving than
That's
we
right.
was, and that was priority to us because hybrid stripe and rockfish, you can't keep them out of the water long.
No.
They'll die.
Yes, and when you're fighting them, they wear themselves down so much in that current, it takes a lot out of them.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to hurry up, do what we need to do and get the fish back in the water, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it wasn't no big deal. I'll be honest with you. If I had known if I had known it had been a world record, I still would not have killed the fish. Period.
Right.
No.
Not a big fish like that. Now, if I'm gonna eat some fish, it's gonna be crappie or bluegill.
But I guarantee you, Bass Pro Shop would have loved to have that.
Oh,
yeah.
They could put in that big aquarium, son. They'd have had something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you freshwater fish only?
Right now, mainly freshwater, but we may end up doing some inshore saltwater.
I do them both.
He
I
does
go
both.
to Florida occasionally. And
Yeah.
What do you target down there in Florida?
Speckled trout, sheephead, flounder, just redfish, intercoastal fish mainly, but I need to do some deep sea fishing too.
Yeah.
Because I grew up doing that when I lived in Florida.
Speckled trout is amazing to eat.
They're
Oh,
delicious.
man.
They are. And a
it's
lot
my
of fun to
favorite.
catch.
Really?
Yeah.
That good? Right.
Yeah, it's
A
good.
lot of fun to catch.
Thank you so much for being on.
Well, thank y'all,
Thank you,
young
Rocky.
man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yeah,
y'all.
thank you, Rocky.
Yep.
Love what y'all are doing here.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yep.
sir. Go ahead, close us out, buddy.
This is Noot with Tru-X TV. Y'all join us on another one.
All right. Hit it.